Hey, man. I'm not even sure where to begin. I called Dr. Allen last week freaking out about Stratera, and he was like, "Why don't you try Depakote? You said it worked in the '90s," and I was like, "Because weight gain and hair loss." Blah blah. I agreed to do Lexapro, and he was concerned about putting me on an SSRI, and I was like, "I bet lithium could be the mood stabilizer," and he's like, "Okay, we'll give it a try." And then the next day I started Lexapro. It seemed okay. And then I had a Dr. Mouse appointment coming up, and he'd wanted me to do blood work, including lithium level, which I did on last Sunday or Saturday or whatever. And I saw him on the 12th, and my level was 1.78. It's not milligrams, it's like some weird science measurement that I don't understand. But anyway, in my blood. And he's like, this is kind of high. You should call your psychiatrist. And I was like, okay. I was like looking at it, and I was like, last time it was 1.24. And he said that it was a little over the recommended um, uh, measurement, but that as long as I wasn't having symptoms, and like, there's some glitch in my brain where I was like, 1.78 is a lot more than 1.24. And I just like, you know, I have been having more shakes. And that night, I started getting really nauseous. And I attributed it to something else. Like, not something I eat. I don't know. Because he had me stop Stratera and start the not the mental, whatever, the antidepressant. Anyway, I started getting really nauseous, and Paul's like, "What was your lithium level?" And I showed him, and he's like, "This is really high, isn't it? Really high? Well, weren't you just like 1.2 before?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, he looks up um the number, and he's like, 2 is like death. 2 is like seizures, comas, death. I think you should call your doctor, Dr. Allen. And it was the weekend. It was this weekend. It just passed. It was like Friday night or something. No, it was Saturday. It was Saturday, and I saw Danielle and talked about this, and I was like, I think it was kind of high. I think it was like 7.1. And she's like, "Do you want me to tell him?" I was like, "Yeah." And she writes it down. So after I find out like I'm close to 2, I text her again. I don't have his number. Um, um, he via her texts back, and he's like, "Stop taking it. I'll call you tomorrow." Okay. So he called me yesterday, and he's like, "Are you sure you took it 12 hours?" I was like, "Yes." And he's like, "I'm thinking of taking you off of it." I was like, "Please, no. Let's just lower it." And he's like, "I don't know. All right. Okay." And he was on duty at the psych ER, and he was like, I could hear this madness behind it, like in the background, like screaming and shit. And he's like, "Okay, all right, take 600 today. No, take nothing today. And then on Monday, um, take 600, and I'm going to call in 300. So you'll go down to 9. I had been on 1200. I was like, okay. Okay, now meanwhile, like the whole weekend, I had this unbelievable nausea. My body started like crumbling, um, like my floppy limbs and confused thinking. I started getting really scared, and those are not like really getting into toxicity. But I wasn't puking, and like a year ago, I was getting toxic. I was puking a lot. I don't know. Somehow this seemed more serious, maybe because the number was so high and I was more scared. But the way my body was behaving. So by today, no nausea, body feels pretty normal. Oh, and yesterday I had to sleep all day. Like I just had to. So okay, that's like the intro to this, and I don't even know if it was necessary. The point being that I felt all wrong, like sleepy, nauseous, la la la. And so I declined going to grandma's, which I like, don't relish, but it gives Paul and I some alone time, and it's usually not that bad. But I was also kind of like psyched to have my alone time. And I watched Netflix and took naps and I ordered a pizza. I had two spreads and like a half pizza. So okay, anyway, oh shit. Is everything still going on? I felt like it stopped for a second. Okay, so they leave. They come back 10 o'clock ish. Poppy's really amped. Really excited to tell me that she fell down off of a marble step from Grandma's big tub onto the floor and hitting her head really hard. So I get like panicky. Skull fracture, concussion, um, she said their ear hurt and it was red. She's like, but earlier it hurt here really bad. And I was like, fuck. So I'm like looking at it, looking at signs of concussion, which she was not demonstrating, which made me feel better. But I can never forget Liam Neeson's wife, Natasha. They went skiing and she fell down and bumped her head, and they all wanted her to see a physician, and she was like, no, no, I'm fine. I'm just really tired. And she went to lay down and never woke up. Sleepiness is one of the symptoms of a concussion. So, uh, Poppy wasn't sleepy, and she didn't have any other symptoms. But that was unnerving to hear. Um, well, da, 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 da. We put her for pop bedtime, which is really video game time, while we watch a movie. We didn't watch a movie. We went up talking, and he tells me a really funny story about Michael that I can't tell you right now, but it's hilarious. Like he almost has to tell you himself. Um, and then he reads to me. We go to bed. He puts me and Poppy to bed. He reads to us. Everything seems normal, except I felt like there was a something about him, and it wasn't typical. He's got like the moods, and I can, there's headache mood. There's headache mood. There's depressed mood. There's simmering anger mood. There's just blah FML mood. I could always pick up on those bad moods, and this was like a little bit of an edge, but I didn't know what it was. And it was subtle, and I didn't even ask about it because it was like he was doing everything correctly, like nothing alarming, and there were jokes and normal conversations, and but there was something. And when he first came home, I was like, "Is he mad? Like, what is it?" And I was like, "He's not." Okay, so we go to bed. He puts us to bed. Turns out the light. Poppy and I are chatting because she's pretty amped still. And then she's quiet, and then she starts crying, and she's like, "Why did he do that to me?" And I said, What are you talking about?" She was like, "Daddy and I were playing hard, and I hit him in the eye, and he he put me in a beat down, and he hurt me." I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "He slapped me one, two, three times in the face." And I'm confused because last week they were playing hard, and she kicked him really hard in the ear, and he kind of dropped her onto the the soft futon, and like had to leave the room and got me and was like, "I can't deal with this." And so I went and comforted her and talked to her about playing rough, and she hurt daddy, but I didn't blame her, but I put it in her mind that playing rough is not okay. So I'm like thinking that this is that, and I was like, "Wasn't it the ear?" And like, now it's the eye, like slapping. That what told me about. And I was like, "Is this true? What you're telling me?" And she was like, "Yes, yes." And he hit me 3 times in the face. One, two, 3 times, and he didn't give me a chance to tell him it was an accident. So this might go to another vlog. All my bullshit about my being sick. So I call him, and he's not answering. And like, oh god, he's like in the back smoking weed, back of the house. She's like, "Where is he?" And I was like, "He's probably going to the bathroom in the back." So we're waiting, and then I hear him coming to the front. So I'm like, "Hey, Paul, can you come here a sec?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Yeah, like right now." And he comes in, and I'm like, Poppy just, but no, I had Poppy tell him. And she's like, "We were playing rough, and I hit you in the eye, and before I could tell you that it was an accident, you hit me 3 times in the face." And he's quiet. No, he's not quiet. He goes, "I know, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that." And I was like, "So it's true?" And he's like, "Yes." And I was like, "And you didn't tell me?" And he doesn't say anything to that. And I was like, "You hit her in the face 3 times." And he was like, she's we've been playing too rough lately, and she was hitting me really hard and like all over, and I felt myself getting mad, and she hit me in the eye, and it hurt a lot, and I snapped, and I did that. And I was like, "It's not her fault. You had choices when you felt like you were getting overly angry. You should have walked away. Even tell her, 'I can't handle this,' or whatever. You should have walked away at the beginning of getting mad." I understand the anger. I've never gone that far. I've shook her like and pushed her and felt like committing suicide. So I'm gonna stop this right now and continue so I can finish this story, the horrible story.